Hey, hold on, real quick. Hold on. Pause.
Ellen, what's going on in Ellen world?
Yeah, she's received
Yo.
man. Dragged. And my thing about that is, everybody's been talking about this. She's been treating her workers like very bad. It's been a toxic environment. I even read articles saying that she doesn't even allow them to speak to her when she's on set, which is very fucked up because she has this personality man, she's so talkable, lovable, all inclusive. But then right, and you find out that's not what it is. It's just a show, or for show, a front for us. It's kind of sad because the people that actually work for you is the reason why your business is performing so well, because they're putting in the work, the grunt work and stuff that people don't want to do, so you should be treating them with utmost respect and at least having a conversation with them. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for working with me, whatever. It just show some appreciation. And the fact that she's not, it's disheartening. So I don't feel bad for her at all, in my opinion.
Yo, one thing I'll say about it is, I believe one of her co-hosts, I believe it's the black guy that's on there, usually does all the dancing. Not so long ago, I think he was being interviewed. And he was well, of course, that's our guy. He was mentioning, he was yeah, once you're at the top, notice some people in Hollywood try to put her down. So apparently, she had other people. I think she had Michael Strahan on, and because of that, Kelly Ripa got mad. So supposedly, her and then a lot of other people in Hollywood don't like her. So she's trying to, I guess her team's trying to say it's a ploy to take them down. And supposedly even a lot of the issues were mainly with 3 producers and not her. But at the end of it, she's the head of the snake. So she obviously knew what was going on at some point.
Yeah, she's still in control, definitely.
Yo, I got a crazy ass theory on Ellen that I peeped a couple. It's been out for a couple months. It was right kind of when the when the lockdowns and shit happened and real serious or whatever. But so these people they, I guess they were watching her show and saw her and Oprah, because they're supposedly going through some shit behind the scenes that no one really knows about. Because supposedly, the elites are about to get oh, not the elites. I'm talking about Hollywood is about to get super exposed, for all kind of the Epstein shit, with all that going on. But supposedly people of the likes of Ellen, Oprah, shit like that, they're on house arrest. So that's the reason why we're still on house arrest in a way, because they can't be in the studio. That's why they're still doing shit at their home and their shows. Dude, they can go to the studios if they want to. You know what I mean? It's not that whole place is just how we go to the grocery store.
Contaminated.
But contaminated. But they're still doing the at home shows, pushing that shit real hard. Have y'all noticed how all the TV stuff, all the entertainment, everyone's they've came around to the stay at home thing. And it's been okay, well, when things do let back up or anything, it's nah, we're here and we're here for good. It's like that. I saw these pictures with these people there zoomed in, she had she was sitting on her couch. She has an ankle monitor on, her and Oprah. Dude, it's all kind of crazy shit. Mike, you could probably even Google Ellen house arrest, and this shit will pop up, dude. It's crazy. It's so weird how sleuthy people are. You know what I'm saying? They figured this type of shit out.
Yeah, it's crazy,
it
man.
It seems plausible, though, man.
It seems plausible. You look at so right when I Google that, USA Today, fact check, Ellen, Oprah, many others are not under house arrest.
See, it's yo, okay.
But it's also very on the nose with actually, all of the people that we just named are good. They're not, they're good. They're good. It's very specific.
That's a little, like you said, it's a little too on the nose, man. That's...
It's conceivable, yeah. And I mean, when you think about the spread, not only of COVID, but also the spread of, COVID misinformation, how does that happen? The media. We talked about that episode, I think it was 29, where, the media is everything. That's the one who pushes agendas. That's the entity that the media, the entities, I guess, that really can sway everybody's public perception. Perception's reality. So, you know, hey, here's the situation. So if they say, hey, nothing to see here, I mean, it's a fun theory, but I mean, that didn't really explain like the rest of the world's complicity. And, you know, like, all right, well, America's talk shows circuit is challenged by house arrest, so let's just play along, you know.
That's why, man, like journalists and the newspapers should get more love, because that's where information is coming from. Like journalists are out there putting in like the real work, and they never get credit for that, you know. So,
dude, newspapers, like the real news is in newspapers.
Yeah.
Still.
Right, exactly.
Like it's so weird. Like those are where the real reporters are. They're still like in print.
Right. And it's going out of business, you know, unfortunately, because nobody reads newspapers anymore.
Because everything is getting sensationalized.
Right.
It's all clickbaity. As soon as you see headline porn, yeah.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
100% the headline porn, Gary.
And Chance, and Chance also brought up a good point too. You had mentioned as far as like, hey, like how come, you know, no one's in the studio? One thing with that is like if we have teams and leagues in a bubble able to be in sporting events, like we're watching the NBA now, you'd figure there's a way that Hollywood, considering how much money they're making, there should be a way where they can continue filming in their studios, and they have whole warehouses and WB, you know, Warner Bros towers. You know, you figure they can at least isolate everybody that's on the set, have the producers go in, start filming, have editors editing, and you can still have actors do their thing by coming in and getting tested. I just don't see how all of a sudden Hollywood's on lock as well.
Yeah, Hollywood runs the world too. You know what I mean? We know they have a big hand in a lot of things, so they should be able to, you know.
I can see, you know, like studio productions that have like a consistent staff. Like if you were to do it that way and say, all right, we're all basically going to quarantine here, you know, the challenges with that is, you know, having access to the daily test. I still don't know how the NBA just has an infinite amount of tests. I'll take it though. Hey, I'm loving sports, but you know, you'd have to be able to produce that. You'd have to be able to say, you know, basically only this staff, you know, like, because you couldn't go really have the hundreds of different crew members and all that, like be in and out and, you know, possibly help spread that, you know, that part I get. But to your point, I mean, if it's a smaller production, you know, it's going to say, hey, this same staff handles these same couple of shows, you know, that gives people jobs, gives people that live studio time. So, I mean, I guess it's a different thing, though, for them to kind of agree. I guess for sports, they have that contract that, you know, you might just lose it if you can't do it. You know, you can't really phone in from home for football, you know.
When you're in film, though, I mean, you're kind of under a contract. And usually, like, you know, films, they, you know, depending on, you know, the film, like they usually shoot for anywhere from like, you know, 2 weeks to like 2 months. And it's usually in the same studio. You know, I'm pretty sure they, you know, move shit around and shoot on location and shit like that. But I mean, if the studio heads, you know, if everyone else, if the entire world, like sports, I mean, everyone else is like kind of adjusting to the shit, why really isn't Hollywood? You know, it's kind of, you know, I mean, the movies kind of stopping and everything like that, you know, even, you know, being filmed and shit like that. It's just kind of, it's just kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are they all at home, you know, but everyone else kind of, and I mean, I don't know, like like you said, it's a fun theory, but it's
fun. And I mean, it's very theoretical because I mean, those are the people that run the country, you know,
right?
Like, Hollywood runs the country. I don't care what anybody says. Hollywood, and
it does.
That's where the agendas are created, you know.
I mean, you mentioned America's a propaganda machine, so Hollywood is the propaganda.
I mean, those are the elites, like the fucking, you know, the Hollywood people. Those are the elites, you know, outside of the like money families and, you know, political dynasties and shit like that. But those are the guys with all the bank. I mean, why do we pay Tom Cruise $200 million to like ride a motorcycle, like just like he was doing like 30 fucking years ago? You know what I'm saying? Why are we still paying that guy that shit? You know, I don't know, man. Hollywood's weird.
That's the economic, you know, the economics behind it. They have the money. They're basically saying, all right, you contribute this percentage of our success to the movie selling. It's going to make, you know, millions, billions. So, but yeah, I mean, it is an interesting theory, you know, movies pause. I mean, I get, you know, the logistics behind it, you know, different crew members and, But I mean, you think that shows would be a little bit more creative, you know, to your point.
Right.
Um,
Especially studio
I never thought
shows.
so.
Sure, like, you know, because then you it's like, oh, we can like shoot for fucking 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? 2 episodes a day. Like, let's, you know, get it in and then get it out. Y'all go do something else. Then all those like, you know, those crew, those the actors, like, you know, they're getting their bank right then and there, and so they can like quarantine for 2 weeks and then come back and do another job. You know what I'm saying? If that's what it takes. I don't know. I'd be a fucking great Hollywood exec.
Damn, that was a good one.